Welcome to this lesson. We are today going to study this speech, Chief Seattle, in detail. As the background video shows, there's a history attached to this character, the chief, after whom the state of Seattle in the United States of America is named. This is the version which appeared in the Seattle Sunday Star on October 29, 1887, in a column which was written by Dr. Henry A. Smith. Chief Seattle was a Native American chief, also a member of the Squamish tribe, and a prominent figure among his people, who pursued a path of accommodation and reconciliation with white settlers. The Red Indians were the first occupants of the land. Knowing that the tide was receding, that their population was shrinking, the chief of the Squamish and the Duwamish tribe, Seattle, realized that it would be fair to surrender parts of land to the white settlers. Therefore, he is regarded as a figure who promoted accommodation and reconciliation. This one is a widely publicized speech which is attributed to Chief Seattle, in which he argues with gentle irony in favor of ecological responsibility and respect of Native Americans' beliefs, traditions, and land rights. For the Red Indians, the lands that they occupied were not merely lands. They had special attachment towards their lands. They exemplified their beliefs, their traditions, and the rights that they practiced on their lands were far more sentimental. Although what he actually said may have been lost through translation and rewriting the speech or the letter attributed to Chief, it has been widely cited as a powerful, bittersweet plea for respect of Native American rights and environmental values. Back in that time, it was only at the mercy of historians or the journalists who knew their native language to translate it and publicize it into other publications. Therefore, it is very probable that this version is the only one that is available. There could be several versions that are partly translated, but we certainly know that parts could be differently translated and perceived. The city of Seattle in the state of Washington in the USA is named after him, just as I mentioned. There is a video on the background and the context of this speech. It will give you a good glimpse into the history of Native Americans. Here we start with the text. Yonder sky that has wept tears of compassion upon my people for centuries untold, and which to us appears changeless and eternal, may change. Yonder sky means this sky over there in the distant place. One needs to imagine that this chief is standing at a raised platform, and in the audience there are his tribe members, all of them, hanging to every word that he is speaking or is going to speak. And in the same audience, there is this group of white men, the representatives who have come from Washington with a proposal to the tribals to allow them to settle over here. So the white people want to use the land. although it is not only a request, it comes more so as a directive. And so the chief in this speech is giving his response to the so-called directive, which is only painted in the colors of request. The coexistence is fairly described, and the distance is very well defined in the speech that the chief is delivering. He says, "Yonder sky, this sky that has wept tears of compassion upon my people for untold centuries, which to us has always appeared to be changeless and eternal." He says that it is this sky that has been our companion, that has been compassionate. Compassionate is a higher degree of kindness. When somebody tries to be a part of your low moments, that's called being compassionate. He says it is this sky that has always blessed us with kindness. It always appeared to us as changeless, something that will never go away, eternal. But he says that may change. Today is fair, although I might want to say that today we are in a beautiful world. Tomorrow it may be overcast with clouds. But listen up, very soon our sky will be overcast with clouds. It will be covered with clouds. We know that clouds symbolize darkness, sad times, problems, challenges. So he's perhaps awareing his tribals about the proposal that has come from Washington. My words are like the stars that never change. He says, but hey, my words are as clear as stars. There could be clouds that might cover the sky, but the stars always stay there. He's talking about his firmness and resolution. Whatever Seattle says, the great chief at Washington can rely upon with as much certainty as he can upon the return of the sun or the seasons. Understand that this speech is directed towards two parties. One is his tribals, and another is the group of members who have come from Washington. He declares that whatever I say here today, I allow the chief at Washington to rely upon blindly. You can take my word. Don't think that I have made liberal promises over here, because every word that I commit is as firm as the event of sun coming up every morning or the return of seasons every time they are due. The white chief says that the big chief at Washington sends us greetings of friendship and goodwill. The white chief, meaning the person seated over here, the head of this group, he says that the big chief at Washington has sent us greetings of friendship, has sent us good wishes, and has offered friendship. This is kind of him. Oh, it is so kind of him to show this gesture. Because we know he has little need of our friendship in return. Little practically means almost no need. He says it is very kind of the big chief in Washington to extend his hand in friendship to us, because I certainly know that he practically does not require friendship. The general idea of friendship is that it happens between the equals, not between two parties that have a huge gap in might, in power, in popularity, or in prosperity. This is, of course, a very general thinking, and going by that, the chief says that the big chief in Washington barely requires our friendship. So it is very kind if he is still offering friendship to us because his people are many. There can be a question that why do you think the Chief Seattle says that the big chief at Washington does not require their friendship? The reasons that he gives are that his people are many, meaning to say they are far more powerful. So they possibly do not require somebody else to join hands with them for power. They are like the grass that covers vast prairies. Prairies are nothing but open areas of grassland that you find mostly in Northern America. So he says, just like thick grass covers these vast pieces of land, they are that abundant. They are that much in number and already powerful. As against that, my people are few. They resemble the scattering trees of a storm-swept plain. Going by the general notion of friendship between equals, Seattle compares, he says, the big chief in Washington does not require our friendship because they are already mighty and powerful and abundant, against whom we, my people, are few. If the whites cover the pieces of land like grass, my people are just scattered trees here and there in small numbers. Right after a storm has swept an entire plain land. What happens when storm hits land? Certainly, it destroys all the beauty within. So he says, my people are just a few in number. The great, and I presume good, white chief sends us word that he wishes to buy our land but is willing to allow us enough to live comfortably. He says the great white chief, who I also presume is a good-hearted man, sends us word, word meaning message, has sent a message with this delegation that is sitting among us, that they want to buy our land and at the same time is willing to allow us enough to live comfortably. On one hand, you are talking of buying, and on the other, you are talking of allowing the natives to live. You must note this sharp contradiction which defies all the norms of an offer. An offer is not dictative. This offer is. They say we want to buy your lands and use them. But you will have to empty those spaces and find your settlement somewhere else along the sides of the mainland. This indeed appears just, Seattle says, even generous. He says, and I think that this is just. The meaning of word just over here is fair. This certainly appears very fair and also very generous. Generous meaning to give more than what is required. In the view of Chief Seattle, the land that they will be giving to the white settlers is a fair deal. And it is very kind and generous of the white big chief in Washington to allow the red man to still live in some parts of the same land. 4. Because the red man no longer has rights that he need respect. He already questions that whether we, as a very small tribe, do we require these huge, vast lands? No, we don't. Do we really need to claim the ownership of these huge pieces of lands? No, we don't own them. The land owns us. If you look at a few of his quotations, you would see what regard he has for the nature, for the ecology. So he says the red man no longer has rights, rights meaning ownerships that he needs to respect, protect. And therefore, the offer may be wise. And therefore, I consider this offer to be very wise. Also, as we are no longer in need of an extensive country. Because the fact is that we, wherever he says we, he means the tribals. Because we are very few in numbers. And therefore, we do not need this huge land. We must give some of it up for others to use. The rest of the speech will continue in the next class.